Thank you for bearing with me, and let's begin. Good evening, all present. We are doing a discussion about acceptance as a sign of evolution, and this is an open house. Please do contribute whatever you understand and whatever your points you want to discuss about. This is both a crowdsourcing of ideas and a discussion platform for how we understand the ability for human mind to accept both pain and pleasure in terms of evolving their mm, humanity or the human excellence, you could say. Because acceptance is something which develops only in when you start becoming an adult. We are children, we don't really have this idea of accepting anything. We just try to demand things. Our parents are our providers, and kids who grow up without parents have a very hard time adjusting in society as it is, because there is no place to their demands, and almost none of their demands get fulfilled because nobody is responsible for them. So acceptance, I would argue, begins at a later stage in life when we start realizing that actions that we have taken will not always give us the results that we have planned for getting our targeted actions basically. So it also might come across or might start as the result of dejection, and acceptance might result from dejection because many a times people who are more active, they take more steps towards changing whatever their surroundings are. Maybe they are trying to get a medal, maybe they are trying to get the first in a competition or anything, any kind of targeted action. When it does not materialize into the idea was taken for, will create a sense of dejection in the person who is taking that action. It is understandable. What also happens, and what we do not want, is that over a period of time, accumulation of dejection usually results in uh, a negative, it's called an anthema, something which prohibits you from taking positive action at a later time, because we have been exposed to repeated failures. We also have the social responsibility of teaching kids what failure really means, which we fail to do, I must admit. But the point is, what we tend to do and what we aim to do is the primary driver for all action for humans. If we do not get it, and if we are, for example, somebody actively discourages or even disbands us from reaching our intended aim, it usually results in um, a negative mindset. Basically, we feel sad, we feel sorry, we might feel be uh, taken to tears or anything. The outcome is different for different people. The amount of emotional involvement is different for different people. That is separate. But the general consensus is that something did not happen the way we wanted, and it gives us a negative mental state. Now, acceptance in this context becomes an escape. So it is generally viewed as something which can be associated with failure or with remorse, or all the negative ideas that a human mind can think about. But what the wise people actually tell us is, when we put too much mental energy into understanding how things are happening, and eventually some of us become wise, the wise will tell us that acceptance is actually a much more well-rounded goal to be the end award or reward for action, rather than getting the goal itself, because it mellows um, the human tendency for immediate reward. So it's called like the kids, when they keep getting chocolates, what they end up becoming is the demands keep escalating. So a child who has been getting whatever he is demanding from parents eventually will become a very, we call them a spoiled kid, or there are different words in Hindi as well about it, but I'm not going to say that. Uh, mm. So the idea is that when we keep looking for more, yeah, ill-mannered, yes, you can say that, but there are very sharp words in Hindi about this behavior. But the point is that when we keep fulfilling the demands of children because we just want to get rid of the constant nagging they are doing, eventually our reward system gets replaced with achievement in their minds, and acceptance does not develop. What happens is we have unintentionally, the parents have unintentionally created a person, or we have developed a human being who is unable to accept, unable to handle rejection in the long run. Eventually life will happen to them, and it will hit them very hard and make them realize that acceptance is eventually going to come into their lives. As such, we cannot ignore it at all. But growing up, this tendency to having achieved whatever we demanded from our parents might negatively impact the mental growth of the children. This is what I would like to put across. Okay, so Nandini has joined us. Hi Nandini, good evening.
Good evening.
And many others have joined as well. Jivika is here. Hi Jivika. Betha, good evening Betha. Mahoraga as well. Hi Mahoraga. Mahoraga, is this from
Good
what
evening.
is that name from? There's a manga, right? Jujutsu Kaisen or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, right. So I'm going to read up a few lines that are, or points that I've pulled up here. One of them is that Yuval Noah Harari in *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind*. It was written in 2014. He says that any large-scale human cooperation, whether a modern state, a medieval church, an ancient city, or an archaic tribe, is rooted in common myths that exist only in the people's collective imagination. Okay, so uh, uh, is this idea clear to everybody?
Okay, wait. Akash, Sapien book, okay? From which page you picked up that
Oh,
line?
this is from *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* by Yuval Noah Harari.
Okay. Which page? Page number, please.
I don't know. This is the quote, and it says, I'll have to search up the book actually. Any large scale human, I can give you pointers so you can search it up. You can search about or archive tribe dash is rooted in common myths. So you'll get it. Yeah, I think this is a unique enough line.
Okay. Can you tell me which part? Cognitive evolution, agricultural evolution, or unification of humankind?
The
Which part?
concept is the cognitive revolution. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Continue.
Right. So the entire point is any large scale human cooperation, whether a modern state, an ancient city, or an archaic tribe, is rooted in common myths that exist only in the people's collective imagination. Does it make sense? And what are your thoughts about this? Because I'm going to associate it with how acceptance as a myth has transformed into a reality.
Or religion.
Sorry,
It has become religion as well.
you can say it is religion, yes, because
It is collective
yes, yes,
acceptance.
yes, you can say it as a religion as well. Because
Or
nowadays the proliferation of religious sentiments is paramount, rather than putting things in a logical only context, of course.
So what type of acceptance are we talking about? Are we talking about the acceptance in myth
Anything,
or
anything actually. That is the open-ended nature of this. That acceptance as an outcome of action. Whatever action we take and whatever results occur, how we perceive that will eventually result into acceptance, whether we like it or not. That is the uh, general idea that I am trying to, you know, put forward.
okay. So I'm confused actually. There are actually two types of acceptance. One is something doesn't happen like the way you want and that you have to accept it. And the second
Mhm.
type is there is a collective acceptance which is being accepted by everyone and now it has become a cult, myth and reality. So which one we are talking about right now?
Both actually. What you are pointing a very good point. In fact, these are separation is personal and collective. Both of these things happen in the same way. Is something which has gone into the human collective ethos becomes generally accepted and becomes cult following or something. It may become religion. It may become canon. It may become general. It may become accepted fiction or anything. Maybe like in India, the epics are treated as truth. Why? Because it has come into common acceptance. We do not have a historical record of those things. We can relate the historical events to those places. So the person who has written them might have existed in the realities, that we can say, but the events in the epics written, we cannot place them in history. But we accept it as being placed in history because certain ABCD facts. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I am talking about that personal acceptance and collective acceptance are two different things right now. Personal acceptance give
They can
actually
be
actually
they
give
can be
you
treated
personal
as
growth.
different, yes.
Yeah. So if we don't separate these topic into two, it will tangle each other.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your last point. If we do not separate them,
If we do not separate them or treat them separately, it will actually confuse us.
why should we be confused? A person who is doing some action in his personal capacity gets some result, and
Yeah.
he either accepts it or rejects it, whatever. And
Yeah.
over a period of time, humans, after having taken certain actions, reach a certain conclusion, which becomes accepted, knowledge. More or less the same thing. Yes, is it not?
Okay. Have you read *Sapiens* completely?
No, not really.
Yeah. That's why. Okay.
Okay.
Continue.
No, no, that's fine. Please put up your point as well, because
No,
if we are going to discuss this, yeah,
actually,
please do.
collective acceptance is way more vast than you think. Okay, and for you to understand it, you need to actually read it. It will take time, and I
That is
cannot just
fine.
yeah.
That is fine. But why you are saying this? At least you can explain that, right?
Actually, it is way too big, way too large to explain. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah.
So
So
maybe you
let's
can
see
help us with a few pointers.
what we've got. No, no, I actually don't want to say anything. I just
Okay.
want to see you talk about this.
Okay. Okay. So anybody else would like to add anything as a point?
Actually, uh, I don't want to add anything, but I want to ask because I have so many doubts about this. These two concepts are not sitting right in my brain. What has acceptance to do with evolution, and what kind of evolution actually? Like evolution, as in a personal sense, like one person uh, in his lifetime has the evolution that happens in his lifetime, that is mental, that is like personal,
Psych-
psychological, or it is talking about the acceptance as a like it has been going on for years, that kind of
Both
evolution.
actually.
And how are these two things? Both actually. Okay. But how are they related?
Right.
Like acceptance and evolution, these two don't sit right with I don't know how.
Right.
Yes.
I'll try to relate how I understand that, and that is precisely why I asked Mahuraga for the, distinction between these two. What he said, personal acceptance and collective acceptance. Right. The point is,
He can explain.
yeah, I asked him, but he
Yeah.
said that it's too much to include in a voice call. So I might be, because the book that I have quoted this from, I have read only the part that I wanted, because of course I was searching for ideas to include in this
Yes. Yes.
talk. Okay. So when I read that entire book, maybe I'll have a much more broader understanding, and then I can talk about it. But before that, I can't.
Yes.
So
But I would like to request Mahoraga, if there is something that he understands or has some actual point to add, please add, because it will help me a lot. Okay, thank you. Yes, Akash, please continue. You're not audible. Are you speaking? Because you're not audible.
am I audible now?
Yes, yes, now you're audible.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you so much. So my idea of how to intersect evolution with acceptance is that from mm, if we just see
You can,
human being
you can,
as a
y-
species. Yes, please.
Akash, you can first define, if it will help me define acceptance, because I am not clear. There are thin boundaries that I might fall into and mistake acceptance with something else. So yeah, you can begin with a definition, or like by explaining what acceptance is really. Uh, that,
Per my understanding, acceptance means uh, assimilation of an idea without conflict, or having overcome conflict.
okay. Jivika also gave one point, and Sakshi also. So Jivika is not here. Maybe Sakshi can add to this point, or maybe Betha or JS, anyone else, if they have an alternate definition to it. Acceptance. Anyone?
What I
I'm
found is
audible.
Yes, Sakshi.
Am I audible?
Yes, already you
yes.
are.
Okay. Um, Nandini, this is specifically for you. Um, when you recognize something, like for example, presence of AI, okay, you might not approve, you might not actually feel like this is required. You might not agree to it, you might not surrender to it actively. But since it is already there, unless and until you accept it, that is, you go with that flow, you consciously recognize that it is present, and without denying it or without fighting it, without demanding more changes from it, um, then you just take it in your life. Okay, fine, you exist. That's in general terms known as acceptance. Is that good enough to establish a solid ground to understand what is meant
Yes,
by acceptance?
yes, yes. So this kind of acceptance, the definition you gave,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of evolution is this? Like on a personal basis, or what kind of evolution?
Right. I get your question. I believe since Akash Bhai was explaining it, I'll let him explain. In case he needs help, then I'll speak.
Yes, yes, sure.
Sure. Thank you.
Sorry, Akash, are you already explaining or should I add some points?
Please, Indra, please
Because
go
I
ahead.
just read. Yeah, so I was saying, I just read because when a same question I had, what does this mean? Acceptance as a sign of evolution. So, so evolution as we evolve. Okay, so there are certain things that when you are not mature enough, when you are a child, or when because we have got this life. Okay, now we are evolving slowly since our childhood. We are evolving, and certain then now when we learn certain things that we have acceptance of certain situations or certain things because now we know, okay, so this is how it goes. And then we keep developing acceptance slowly towards certain things. So this is one way, like the way we evolve more, then the better we are able to accept the reality as it is, and not just thinking that no, I wish this would have happened this. So we don't work on our how we want things to be, but there are certain things that we have to accept, and then we start accepting that. So yes, so evolution
Like,
is about evolving.
Acceptance also required action accordingly. What I found is that acceptance is of three terms. First is seeing what is going on, then accepting, then you are perceiving it, what is happening as a fact, then you are acting accordingly what is demanded. This is the full definition of acceptance. And when I go under the teachers, how we are evolving psychologically. These three things I found. You have to take the action accordingly. If you are not taking the action accordingly, then your acceptance is incomplete. So you have to take the action accordingly, and you have to evolve psychologically. Instead of fighting with the facts, if sun rises in the east, it is rising. You can't go and turn the direction of the sun. So the things which are present in the society, you have to accept it is as it is, and then you have to accordingly react instead of fighting. So you are protecting your mental peace. You are not fighting and or taking the burden of all the things happening around you on your head and carry the baggage. So you have to keep out that baggage from your head. You have to evolve psychologically. So this is just more or less psychological topic.
okay. So, are psychological growth, development, and evolution can be used synonymously? Like change. Can these terms be used interchangeably? Like psychological growth, development, and evolution.
Actually, everything is evolving with the time. Nothing is constant. If you are adapting to the situation and accordingly acting, then you are in a peace of mind and you are more productive. So we can see it as a evolution. We are not stagnant. We are not staying at a single place. The water which is flowing is pure comparatively to which is stagnant. So same way, if we are evolving with the time, we are accepting the fact which are changing with the time instead of fighting and wasting our energy on the things which are not going to change according to our will. We are evolving ourselves. So we are evolving. That's the point which is the topic demand. Instead of stagnating and spoiling ourselves, our mental health. Once we are mentally unhealthy, then we are affecting our environment. First our family, then the surrounding, then the nation. So ultimately we are becoming unproductive. Once we are become unproductive as a human resources, then we are futile. So evolution is not happening. It is on the individual ground. If everyone begin to act same way, then it is on the community level. So this is my perception. First we are individually acting, then it is come to the community.
Right. Thank you so much, Jyoti. So this is the basis of the psychological development that you have in mind. Okay, Nandini, does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Like,
Okay.
I
Uh,
want to add one more point.
Yes, please.
I just
yes, yes.
okay. Like before, like before knowing what we are accepting, or before knowing what acceptance here is, we should understand what evolution we are talking about.
Thank you.
Like
Yes.
here we are not talking like evolution here doesn't mean like changing the world. It means changing our relationship with what we cannot be we what we cannot change. Here evolution means like knowing what must not be accepted. Am I clear? Like, I don't know
You
how I'm
are,
saying, but
but you're not using the words that we expect you to use. Please, flesh it out a bit further, and it will be much more clearer. Try to
hello.
rephrase, please, Sakshi.
Like, don't you get my point? Like, what am I saying?
I think I understand, but I'm asking you to please rephrase whatever you're saying and use different sentences to explain it, please.
Mm, how should I say this then?
What I understand what you're trying to say is evolution in my personal space is actually my relationship with what I cannot change and is happening in my life. So it is also part of relegation and acceptance in general from from a non-personal perspective. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, you like here the word acceptance is saying what you need to like you need to understand what you are accepting, what you need to like what you need to accept and what you not. Hello.
Agreed. But the general idea is if we trying to relate it with evolution happens in both spaces, right? There is a psychological space that Jyoti was just talking about. There is also a race space, the evolution of a race, like humanity. When humankind started evolving, for example, if we tend to say that we have evolved from apes. Hi Pranav, namaste. We tend to say we have evolved from apes. So apes have a certain lifestyle, they have a certain uh, existence. Separating from that into what we are today has taken so many stages. There are Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, there are n number of states, right? Between, I'm just talking about the biological evolution right now. I'm not even going into psychological ones. Adaptation, we have all heard about adaptation, right?
Yeah.
When a negative environment happens, all living beings adapt to it. That is how they survive. I would argue that adaptation is biological acceptance in play. Okay. And
Like, yeah.
yeah, yes, please. If you're asking a question, please do.
No, no, I'm not asking.
Okay. I'll explain what I'm trying to say. Oxygen. We all breathe in oxygen. We live. We are alive because of oxygen, right? At some point, cyanobacteria is a kind of bacteria which cause the creation of oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere. Before that, oxygen was a toxic gas. It used to kill off any living thing. The prevalence and the abundance of oxygen in the atmosphere forced life forms to adapt in a way and accept the presence of oxygen in the atmosphere, adapt themselves, and change into using oxygen as a life sustaining system rather than killing ourselves off. Does it make sense?
As of like you are talking about chemosynthetic bacteria.
Yes. Cyanobacteria is a
Yeah.
chemocentric bacteria. Yes.
Yeah. So there could be a two guess. Like either they evolved to adapt without using
Yes,
sunlight,
there could
or
be,
they
but absolutely, absolutely agreed. And that is why I had questioned. I understood what you were trying to say when you were giving this statement. Exactly. But what eventually happened is our reality today, right? There could have been a difference. There could have been a maladaptation, and we could have died off. But it did not happen. Life forms evolved in spite of oxygen being abundant in the atmosphere. So life forms adapted to that reality, right?
yeah.
So I would argue that biological systems also implement acceptance as a means of evolution. We just don't put enough thought into it. What we do some unconsciously or subconsciously are governed by biological and chemical phenomena happening within our bodies. Just only, I'm talking about humans. There are all of these systems are parallelly traceable across all life forms. But just focusing on humans itself, our body, our physical biological system, life form is an interconnected web of multiple individual packets of life, including bacteria, viruses. There are so many kinds of fauna, not flora, because of obviously we don't have plants inside us. All of these are animals. So symbiotic systems that exist within our mitochondria basically were biological entities. You know that, right? Some bacteria have evolved and become human mitochondria. So what actually happens in the human body, what actually drives the life form of human body, is a very complex system of multiple life forms existing simultaneously in one packaged unit. Yeah, it is one of the theories, but this is, I would like to quote this theory to make things clear in this context. Okay, so evolution and acceptance as a sign of evolution happens not only in the mental space, in the psychological sphere. It happens everywhere, throughout history, throughout timelines, throughout space, everywhere. What we will understand to be our reality, what we do understand to be our reality today, is the culmination of a certain step, series of events that we have come to accept, like it or not. I'll give another example, which is very recent. India got its independence. I'm saying this because we just celebrated 15th August. India got its independence from the British Raj. We are talking about a country, right? A set of people and a diverse set of races living together and subservient to the British Raj. It existed for 200 years. We were exploited and do whatever ABCD happened. When we got independence, Indian population accepted that today we have got independence, and from now on, our life, British, not Raj. Okay, the British Crown. Fair enough. So,
No, the British operation. It was
sorry.
complete, total operation. Not. It wasn't ruling us. It was oppressing us.
Yes, okay. I will not argue about that. It is called the British Raj for the
I am
reason
just
because
request you not to
yeah.
call it British Raj.
Okay.
British is fair enough, good enough.
Okay. British rule is understandable. Okay. So British rule created a set of circumstances for India. It produced a set of deficiencies in our existence, in our food systems, in our plantation, in our economy, everything. When we got independence, colonialism, yes, you can say that, and it had happened not only with India. Britain had 102 or 103 colonies all over the world, so it was happening everywhere. The most oppressed was one of the most oppressed was India. Okay, so point is, when we took the independence, when we accepted our independence, with that we also accepted whatever happened to us as our reality. and then we adapted and evolved. So my point is acceptance happens at every stage of life form. It happens in the community, it happens in the state, it happens in countries, it happens for individual people, for singular communities, everywhere. Whatever is given as the existing set of environmental conditions, what we call them conditions today, is actually what we have come to accept as truth, our truth. And from here we try to improve our improve our living conditions or whatever, our economy, our personal health. Maybe I have I've got cancer, I've got lung issues, so I will adapt my lifestyle to include that as my reality, accept it, and make my life as best as I can with that as my reality. So
The example that you, uh, yeah, so I want to say something.
yes, please.
The example that you gave of the British colonialism, can that be said as a proper example? I mean, can that be considered a proper example? Because we did not accept, like we did not have acceptance that whatever was happening was right, and
Yes,
then came the revolt and
yes.
everything. Yeah, so it was,
I,
yeah, it was
correct.
not acceptance. So
My
yeah,
point was
and even
correct.
now, yeah, even now, what we have, what we are left with is some parts of their something, it something is left of them still in our minds, like what exactly is in this example that we have accepted.
Right. The reality,
uh,
the truth
they are
that this is what
yeah,
we need to deal with now. You've heard about reparations, right? You understand the term reparation?
yes, yes.
So reparations are, if for people who are not aware, reparations means when a person is oppressing somebody else and eventually they need to leave, stop that oppression. The oppressed people have the right to claim whatever was whatever, when they were oppressed, whatever the whatever was extracted from them as compensation. So for example, if I have a slave today and I exploit them, I don't give them wages, I make them, I beat them and do whatever and make them work for me, and I extract worth out of their labor. When that person gets independence from me, he can seek the monetary damages that I have caused in his life up until that time. This is from principle of natural justice. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So why I brought up reparations is British Crown and not the Crown, the British Parliament today owes India reparations, which we do not charge them. Even today, we have not made any demands. So not just India, South Africa, and Papua New Guinea. There are so many people around the world who can demand reparations from Britain because it was their economies were extracted and squeezed at the time they were British colonies. But it has not yet never been asked for. Does that mean reparations are not owed? They are owed, right? If I go to a bank and take a loan, that bank is illegally, uh, it is okay for that bank to demand payment from me, is it not? But if that bank does not claim that from me, does that bank stop owing, do I stop owing that bank money?
Absolutely not.
Right? So the from the point of existence of realities, my point is Britain owes reparations to all of its colonies. None of the colonies are demanding it. That does not absolve Britain of the reality of owing reparations to all of those people, right? reality
Fantastic.
that somebody
Yeah.
owes us something and we do not want to, we have not yet demanded for it, is the reality of all those economies. They are suffering. Most of those economies are still developing because of the systematic oppression from us, the colonizer. Even then, those people are accepting their reality as today's reality and moving ahead with their economies, their GDP or whatever, irrespective of how what was already done in the past. Because when they got independence, they declared that today we get independence, from now on our actions are in our own accord. Before this time, whatever was done, we accept it as our reality. Now Nandini's question comes here, that the colonization was even not even accepted by the people in India. Never was accepted, obviously. If I go to your house and say that your house is now, you will not agree to it, obviously. But because I have power, because of whatever things I use, because of force, because of political pressure or however, I continue to use your house. Does that make my actions legally binding to you? It does not. But it is still your reality. I still use your house. And when I leave your house, the fact that I now owe you some monetary damages is my reality as well. I cannot get rid of it. So the same thing, India did not
Uh,
want Britain to
yeah.
rule it. Okay, so it was not acceptance. But the time it took independence, it accepted that it was a colony. Its economy was, failing, almost failing, because of incessant, extraction, and being handed over the reins of this, failing economy and everything, being handed over the reins of independent rule. From now on, all of the actions that this country took was its own responsibility. It accepted this. No matter it did not accept the subservience, but it did accept that it has taken independence today, and from now on, its actions are its own responsibility. Yes or no?
Yes.
But is acceptance like always
No, it
beneficial,
is not. No,
or
it is
is
not.
always no? Yeah, and also is like, how is this how is this not negative evolution? Like,
Right.
it is not
Great.
helping you. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So it is not negative evolution, because evolution, the term evolution means overcoming whatever is at the moment negative for me in any context. When we evolve when we evolve from apes to humans, we have improved our ability to think. The only difference between apes and humans is the ability to think. In fact, in other things we have devolved. The muscular capacity of apes compared to that of humans is around 17 times. I think all of you know, right? They are much more muscular than us. They can their work capacity for work is much more greater. Humans have devolved, but it is still an evolution, because this the social system of humans has evolved in a way where they do not need to work as hard. They have developed tools, they have developed machines, they have developed social structures, so that work is divided. You can say, yeah, absolutely. So sedentary lifestyle is actually a devolution. It is not an evolution, but we see it as an evolution because now we can use computers to do our work. Absolutely. So many things that we treat as evolution is actually devolution. But it we understand it as evolution because in some way, either in biological ways or in physical ways or in psychological ways, we see that our understanding of that situation is that it has helped us. That is what we treat as evolution. Nandini, am I making sense?
Yes, you are. Nandini, I have a counter question for you. Are you there, Nandini?
I'm here.
Okay.
Am I
What?
audible?
Yes, please. Yes,
Yes.
please. I was asking, have you heard what I said, and is it understandable?
Yes. Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank
Country
you.
name Pakistan existing today? Nandini, is there a country named Pakistan existing today?
Yes, yes, it is.
Is there a country named Bangladesh existing today?
Yes.
Are we more often conversing in English rather than in Hindi or any other vernacular language?
Uh, what? Can you repeat your?
Are we
What were you saying?
talking, are we conversing in English compared to any other vernacular language or compared to Hindi? Hindi is our national language, right?
Yes, yeah. Official.
And yet,
Yes.
and yet, we talk in English more than we talk in Hindi.
Well, actually, the Hindi being the official language is actually debated. It is not mentioned in many of the places that it is said to
That's
be.
entirely
That is a
different
different.
dimension. We are not going there.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
okay.
make
Yeah.
her answer her own question. Did
Yes,
we
yes.
accept the British or not? They were here for 400 years. 400 years. They ruled us for tentatively 200 years. You do not let somebody stay in your house for 400 years without accepting them. I'm not saying everybody accepted them. I'm not saying evolution never happened. I'm not saying people did not start protesting against it. But there was a period when it was accepted. And after they left, did we accept our own reality and did we accept that let us make our own nation great again, or did we send our children outside? America is a more promising nation. Please go and take care of yourself and please go and settle in London. Even today, they are doing that. The other day, there was a guy who was fighting over the similar kind of topic, saying that they have a better education system than what we have. If we have not accepted all those things in general, the common reality of all of us, it's a general thought, not per se your thought, not per se my thought. But if you ask people, where would you like to rather be, you'll get your answer. So, this question of did we really accept them? You tell me, did we not accept them? They stayed
Yes,
in
we did.
our house for 400 years, which tentatively translates to 8 generations. Tentatively, not exactly, but tentatively, 8 generations. 8 generations. Not your father, not your grandfather, not his, not your great grandfather. Go 8 generations back. Think about it. Then tell me whether do you actually feel that they were not accepted.
Even if we have accepted them, has that been a good thing or a bad thing? Because uh, we have to talk about the
Mm,
acceptance things in context with
evolution.
acceptance as a
Yes.
sign of evolution.
Yes.
So
It is.
was
See,
that? Yeah, yeah.
We
I agreed, and
accepted
I
them.
understand the question.
I have a point. We
Yes, please.
accepted that we are colonized, and we raise our voice that it's our country and you are not our part of the country. We protest against them after accepting that we are colonized. If someone come to my home and forcefully conquered our house, it doesn't mean they do not have. We accepted that they have come to our house and we are protesting simply. Accepting the truth is not always negative. It's always positive. Something is happening, whether we believe or not. And subconsciously, we always believe what is happening. Just we do not acknowledge. That's why acceptance is itself are composed of three terms. First, we are seeing, then we are acknowledged that it is happening, then we are acting accordingly. Protest is our choice, whether we can protest or we can act like a day slave. But we were colonized, it is the fact, and we accepted it subconsciously. Every one of us accepted it. Our reaction was different. All of us react differently. Some accepted as a slave, some said, no, it's our country, we will throw you out. Some were protesting, some were fighting, and everyone is fighting in their own way. Poets are writing the poems, soldiers were fighting with the war and weapons, everyone fighting in their own way.
In the meantime, we have been joined by Cinderella. Cinderella is, I have not seen this person before. Is this Dot? I'm sorry, not able to understand if I've seen them before. Right. Okay. So Nandini, uh, did the answers make sense to you, or like, do you have a different question now?
I don't know. Maybe we can talk about this example itself is not something that is very, not fitting right with the
Cinderella,
every
you're not
acceptance.
audible at all.
Am I audible?
Cinderella, you are audible, Nandini,
Oh,
but
oh, oh,
Cinderella,
oh.
she was, he or she was saying that if audible or not, they are not audible.
Maybe they can rejoin again. So, and they can try speaking again. So,
Yes, please. If you can, please rejoin us.
rejoin and then you can try speaking. And so, Akash, maybe we can talk about something more in a
Yes,
psychological sense.
Cinderella.
So that would make more sense. Yeah. Yes, Cinderella. Are you speaking?
Okay, I'll continue then. So, from a psychological standpoint, evolution means. How would you explain? What is your perception of evolution as a psychological standpoint? Can you please tell me, Nandini?
Uh, like from a psychological perspective, I think of it as something that I have evolved, like when I was a child to now as an adult.
So,
What
personal
changes?
evolution.
Yeah, personal evolution. That is something I am thinking of when I am thinking of acceptance as a sign of evolution. Because in larger or broader perspective, I simply cannot grasp this concept in a society like acceptance. What kind of acceptance and what kind of evolution has it caused? Like as you were also talking about the cultural thing that the traditions, the myth became tradition in a what uncivilized society or some kind of society. Something you were
Yes.
saying like that, and it also became religion. That was a different point. So in that sense, I don't think it was evolution, because if it was some kind
What is social
evolution has,
evolution?
yeah. First thing I want to ask is evolution always positive? Like it always brings
No,
positive changes or
no,
not?
no, no.
Yeah, yeah. Then that makes
Evolution
sense.
is an adaptation. Evolution basically is another way of talking about adaptation.
Now it all makes sense. Whatever you were saying now, it makes sense, because in my mind I did not understand the real concept of evolution yet. So I was thinking it in a positive way, like you evolve and evolve and evolve in a good manner.
Right. So that is
But
why I talked about devolution as well, right? When we became humans from apes, we lost our physical capacity. Yes, Sakshi, it is actually
Sakshi,
change. Absolutely, it is
change.
adaptation. To changing into growing comfortable with the situation, or not even if not comfortable, at least living with it.
It's like letting it be. Oh, letting
Yes,
it be. Okay.
letting it be can be called relegation. जो है वो तो है. In Hindi we call it, say it right. Whatever
Yes, yes.
is the reality. So
It is
that is
what
the
it
way to
is.
see it. That is the way to say it, but it is not the only thing that I'm talking about. So actually, if acceptance as a sign for evolution happens in all stages, be it social, be it physical, be it psychological, be it in the personal space, be it psychological, in the biological context, be it in species, be it in specific, adaptation, specific mutations. You understand mutations, right? Some, sorry, you're saying something?
No, sorry, I didn't realize that my mic is on. I was talking to my ma for my niece.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Cops has joined us. Hello, Cops. Good evening. Hi, Yuna. Right. Mahora has been silent for quite
So
a
as we were
long
saying,
time.
uh,
Yes, please.
yeah, if you're speaking, Mauraga, you're not audible. Maybe you can rejoin. I don't
I
know
am
what has
not
happened
speaking,
today.
I am just listening.
Oh, okay. Okay. Your mic was on, so I thought you were speaking. So as you said, Akash, that it can happen at each level, like in the society also, at a biological level also, at a personal level also. So which
Yes.
one, I think, which one is more relevant? If I have to write about something, I cannot create a khichdi. I cannot create a khichdi. I have to choose one aspect of it, whether it is social or it is biological or it is personal.
Uh,
That is
Right.
something I'm trying to figure out.
Great. Have you read the points that I gave in the GC?
Yes, yes, I read them, and
Right.
because there was some
There is an
difficult words
overlap,
I
right?
could not yeah.
Yeah, that is fine. There is an overlap. Whatever words you don't understand, you Google it, you will know what I'm talking about.
I
The
chat
point is,
GPT.
there is.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the point is, when you talk about evolution, because humans are a thinking species, you cannot talk only about personal evolution. My point is, if I was to write that essay today, I cannot talk about only my, use my lens as an individual to understand evolution and acceptance in my life as part of evolution. That will be a very narrow description of what I'm trying to, go through
yes,
as a species, right?
yes,
What
yes.
I'm trying to give to you is, if you can relate, I started with biological evolution, right? What happens is species develop because there is a demand for life. Okay, that is an adaptation. From no life, the existence of life is an adaptation. Then again, from simple life, complex life is an adaptation. Then again, separation of the initial life, simple life is unicellular. There is no difference between plant and animal, right? When we evolve into multicellular organisms, that is again an adaptation to the environment. Then again, evolution of different species from a unicellular, a multicellular plant corpus into different kinds of species, thousands and billions of species of plants. And similarly, in the animal space as well, there are animals which can fly, which can live underwater in the air. They can suspend in air and stay afloat for their entire life. So many different variations. The variations itself are an adaptation to the environment and the availability of food. This
Can
comes
you
from.
explain?
Sorry.
Can you explain that one? Can you explain that one point you sent me? It was that reaction and response thing.
Perfect.
That was
Yeah,
very,
absolutely.
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. What happens is, when we are talking about adaptation, acceptance as an evolutionary, response, what happens is when a circumstance presents itself to any living organism, not just humans, anything, the first response is shock. They are not able to handle it. Some people, some of the individuals will die off.
Yeah.
If I change the composition of air today, the maximum population of humans or everything living organisms will die off because they cannot handle the adaptation. Who will survive are usually are the youngest of the lot, which have the maximum time to adapt. The number of young which will die off is also the largest because they have developed itself in the least possible manner. But because they are least developed, they are also not just survival of the fittest. I'm not talking about, yes. What I am talking about is adaptation of the fittest, not just survival. Survival of the fittest is some, it's very hyped. It is not actually, when you see over multiple species, it is not true for everybody. Not only the fittest survive everywhere. There are species which are very weak and they survive because of their weakness. So it's not only of survival of the fittest, it is just survival. Okay, and you get my point, right? Whatever we are trying to, whenever a new situation or new environment emerges due to whatever factor, not created by me. If today I change the environment for all of the ants on the planet, most of them will die off. Some will survive because their adaptation to the environment is the least, so that their
Akash,
capacity to adapt is the maximum. Yes, please, Maharaga.
okay, after hearing you for about 30 minutes, I come to the conclusion that you are talking about adaptation and evolution rather than acceptance. You are
Okay.
just trying to relate acceptance with everything, but it is not making sense when you talk about acceptance. You are right about
So
adaptation.
I,
Your
I'll
points
ask
are
you a
on
question
point.
here. I'll
Yeah.
ask you a question here.
Go
How do you
go
see
ahead.
acceptance as? Do you see it as a psychological thing or a physical thing as well?
There are two types of acceptance, and it is completely psychological.
Are you
Acceptance is
trying to say
completely
there is,
psychological.
Mahoraga, are you trying to say there is no such thing as social no, not social, biological acceptance or adaptation is not a thing for you? Is this what you're saying?
Acceptance and adaptation.
Adaptation is a thing for you. Adaptation is a thing for me as well. Okay. I am talking about the psychological acceptance. Okay. And I am not talking about the acceptance as a sign of evolution. That is
Uh,
completely different topic. Instead of acceptance, we
Okay.
should use the word adaptation there.
my topic is acceptance is a sign, as a sign of evolution. I cannot change it because it's not in my hands. I
No,
have
no,
to.
no.
That's why I'm trying to
Nandini,
understand it. It's such a
you are
complex topic.
mistaking. You're mistaking Maharaga's explanation actually. He's saying what I have been
Okay, okay.
explaining is not actually acceptance. I am talking about adaptation.
Okay. But
Yeah.
okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, but
Yeah.
uh, is there no such thing as biological acceptance that leads to evolution? Is there no such
No,
thing like
that's
that?
what. Yeah, we can call it acceptance, but it is not actual acceptance. Rather, we can say adaptation is a better word for it. Okay. I am not denying the
Yeah,
fact
I
that
get.
biological acceptance is such thing. Okay, biological acceptance is actually a thing. If
Yes,
nature does not accept us, we might die. We will die. Actually, we don't. We might not. We will. But that's called
yeah, but
adaptation. The one word for it is called adaptation. Yeah.
unfortunately, even yeah, but I have to use this word because I cannot if I am writing an essay, I cannot completely ignore this word acceptance and only use adaptation even when it makes more sense. Right? I have to use both, and that is why I'm trying to have this
Nan-
discussion so that I
Nandini,
don't
you are
mistake.
mistaking
I
again.
don't. I don't cross
So
this thin line. Yeah,
you're
you
mistaking Mahuraga's point again. He's
yeah.
saying what we have
Hmm.
been talking, all of the things that we have been talking till now, is not part of acceptance. He's saying acceptance is essentially a psychological construct.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why
So
I was saying
what I,
why we can't explain acceptance in terms of the biological evolution. Firstly, when you state the biological evolution, you are talking about the millions of years evolution. We when we study evolution in as a biological student or medical student, you have to study, take the time parameter of hundred of years minimum. Or technically, they use millions of years to study the evolution. When she will account the term acceptance for the evolution, we can't correlate the biological evolution with acceptance. Her essay will become a theory which is hard to justify. I hope I am making a sense.
okay, fair enough. Yes, you are making sense. Fair enough. And Mahoraga was saying that
So
from the
can
very
we
beginning,
all?
actually, that this is basically a psychological construct. We,
That's what
being
I
able
was
to accept
wanted to say.
something requires us to use our brains. You're saying this, right?
Yes,
Can I
acceptance
not
is required.
write about? Yeah. So can I
Evolution is
not?
main. The term evolution we use mainly for the biological changes which occur over the million of time when the earth comes to the existence when we begin to study. But when we talk about the acceptance, it becomes instantly psychological because we are accepting something. Whether we accept or not, biological changes are tend to happen. If giraffe accept or not, the trees are small, but he has to use the neck, extend his length in his bones to eat the leaf. It was eventually taking evolution with time, whether he or accept or not accept. So that's how biological changes occur.
That's called adaptation.
Whether we, yeah, that's called adaptation because our body adapting automatically. Whether we put conscious effort or not. When environment is changing, we are changing with the time, and
Yeah,
for that we don't need to use our brain.
yeah,
The topic is
So
psychological.
what I understand is our idea of intellect is actually different. That is why you are classifying this as adaptation and not acceptance, is because your understanding of intellect is different from what I understand it as intellect.
yeah.
Maybe
Do you believe or do you understand that biological systems that do not have brains have intellect?
no.
No,
Our brain is controlling the all the system, all the
Great,
systems.
great. Okay. Sorry.
Our brain is controlling all the systems.
Right. Uh, I'll give you the counter example immediately so that we can put it in context. Yeah, you know the concept
Yes.
of DNA, right?
Yes.
So what I understand is DNA is a set of chemicals bound into a certain physical construct which carries encoded chemical signaling
In,
data, right?
information. Yes.
Basically, it's a USB drive for biological systems.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Correct. So it
Correct.
does not have a system of thinking. It just exists, right? In whenever we put a DNA into something or whenever that DNA is formed, it just starts existing. It does not um, sprout a brain and start replicating itself, right?
It's mutate with the time, and it's replicate when it has a favorable substances like chemical, protein,
Correct.
there and the
Correct.
biological initiators.
Correct.
So
The
there's a
DNA
whole
is basically
environment.
the pen drive.
Then,
Yes, the DNA is basically the pen drive. You will need the RNA to start replicating, right? You will need to unwrap it.
yes,
Right. So whenever you give when you put the pen drive into a computer, when the OS is there, that OS causes the replication of files present in the pen drive. Correct?
correct.
So the pen drive does not have the brain. The OS actually has the brain. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. My argument is the why I distinguished intellect here is that biological systems have an inherent intellect that is separate from the brain.
That is nucleus.
Sorry?
That is nucleus. Every cell has its
Yes.
nucleus, which functions
The
for a
nucleus
unit, which
might
is
be
responsible.
seen as a cell's brain. Exactly. Exactly. So, Jyoti, exactly the my point. We call the nucleus the brain of the cell,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Why? Because the functions that we expect our brain to do in the human body, we are seeing that those things being done by the nucleus inside a cell, right? Correct?
Okay.
So, my point is, intellect is actually separate from what we understand as the brain. And intellect is an overarching phenomena around all biological systems, not just biological. The intellect is actually a phenomena governing all physical systems. In fact, what we discover as laws in the universe, gravity, the combination of light, white light being combined from seven colors and everything. All of the things that we have discovered as physical laws are governed by an intellect which we eventually start understanding. So that is why I start equating adaptation as acceptance in biological systems, because systems that have not yet developed a brain are also adapting, are also evolving. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to tell you right from the start is the why my point to Nandini was to look at biogeochemical evolution phenomena, is that even the emergence of life is an adaptation, as you say in biological systems. It is actually an acceptance from non-physical non-life systems into life systems. That actually expands the depth to a way longer space to cover in 7,000 word or 5,000 word essay. So of course you will have to choose whatever you want to present in that essay. That is definitely the part, the work of the editor. As you being researching this, you will have to choose what you want to include in your presentation, and leave out of it, of course.
Yes,
My
yes.
idea is to give you ideas and give you pointers to also be aware that these are ideas that you can explore.
Yes, I'll read about them. I'll have to read for like so many days to understand it properly, and then I can start writing something, because I cannot
Yes, of
just
course.
vaguely take a pen, and because as of now you can understand I'm really clueless. Uh, I am not. I'm not able to distinguish certain things and then connect it to a different, very different thing like evolution.
Got
Uh,
it.
so
Because
yes, I will read about it. And
what is
there are
happening?
there are so many aspects also that I have to take in consideration and
Yes,
read about it, and then choose the thing that is most suitable, most apt for me to write about, the thing
exactly.
that I understand the most. Yes.
Exactly. And you will also have to skew it towards psychological evolution, because the people who are sponsoring your competition have a certain bent of mind. That is why I asked you, who is you going to judge this?
There's a school kind. There's a foundation that
Yeah,
is
I read your
organizing this.
response.
Yes.
Yes, I read your response. That is
Okay.
why my question, you did not tell me about the foundation, right? I asked you before that. Why is, when you put any information in front of somebody, you will need to understand the context in which that information will be taken.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask my professors also and everyone in this group, if you have any article like Akash has said me, send me one. Jyoti, I think Jyoti sent it. So
Yes,
yes,
yes.
any article relating to this, any book that you have read and you personally know that is good and is relevant to this topic, please send it in the group and mention me. So I'll read it. Uh, that's
I
and
am
thank you
still
everyone.
confused what we are talking about. Are we talking about psychological acceptance or some other thing?
That is up to
Yes,
you, which point you
it is
want to raise.
also
And
it is also a part of this, and it's a very large part of it, because humans, all of our understanding is psychological. My
Yeah.
entire point, my entire corpus of whatever I was trying to talk about in biological systems is keeping humans out of it. Even there, adaptation exists, and that acceptance is actually what adaptation is in non-human systems. That was what I was trying to drive. When we talk about humans as a system, as a evolutionary product, as a individual, as a community, entire dynamics change because we have the capacity for psychological expansion.
Yeah. So today we do not talk about psychological acceptance.
Not yet. We can
Raga, oh my
we can talk
God.
about it now. We can talk about it now.
No, no. Actually, I am just confused. Okay.
I got that. That is why I asked you, right? That
Yeah. I asked in the first few minutes what we are talking about,
that- exactly, yeah.
and now I have come to the conclusion that we are talking about biological acceptance.
Yes. So, of course, the second huge part of it is psychological acceptance and how humans perceive pain, perceive dejection, perceive humiliation, and adapt to and accept it or adapt to it in certain ways so that they grow as humans. That is a very large part as well.
Yeah.
That is where the distinction between personal acceptance and the community acceptance comes, because what we have learned, as common knowledge in the community, it is treated as the social truth. This is what we cannot cross. They are used to form morals. They are used to form filtering systems in societies.
Okay, like can we see it as a ironical term?
Can we see it as a
Acceptance as a ironical term.
ionical means?
Like how?
Like it's what we are like in a first sense we are saying that okay, acceptance, go with the flow, but actually we are not going with the flow.
No, we are not going with the flow.
And here
Accepting
evolution
everything
term
is
is
not,
also a metaphor.
yeah. Here I
So
think
like
acceptance as a evolution is a metaphor.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
and I don't know why
If
where
you
is
had
Nandini, like I could give her a framework like which she can use.
Akash,
So
if you knew
there was a
that
different
it
Yuna.
was a metaphor,
Yes, please,
Akash,
Ramara.
do you know it was Akash, do you know it was a metaphor?
Which one?
Evolution
Acceptance as
term.
a sign of evolution.
Acceptance is a sign of evolution being a metaphor.
Yeah,
Here
like
this
the
word
word
is metaphor.
evolution.
I'm not actually getting what you are asking me.
Sakshi said,
Sakshi said that in the psychological space, evolution is a metaphor. It yes,
Yeah.
it can be treated like that.
yeah. So you knew from the very start,
Sorry.
you knew that from the very start of the topic.
Yes, of course. The psychological topic. I have not even started discussing the psychological topic, right?
Then why we were discussing biological evolution up until now?
Okay,
See,
got your
Raga,
point.
what are you doing, bro? Like you first need to understand what this term is actually and from where it came. Can you make this
Uh,
word understand to any non-science student from non-background of science? You have to first make this understand that what from where this word came out.
Okay, if we are
This
talking
is
about the
directly not
introductory
very
part,
connect. Okay, this is not very
okay,
directly
if
connected to psychological term. You
yeah,
have to connect from where this word came out and why we are using this term evolution. And for that, you need to understand the biology behind this word.
actually, if we are talking about the
And now we are
introduction of
already
it,
like say that we are okay. We are talking from the biological term. Now we are transitioning towards psychology, which you are saying.
So
okay,
actually, Maharaga, psychological understanding comes much later, right? With humans, we are here only for the last 10,000 years or something. The Earth as a system, living organism as a system, has evolved for billions of years. There have been ice ages. There have been fire ages. Heat ages. All of those beings who have come before us and gone, they were adaptations as well, right? They were acceptances for the way of life as well. The humans had not even nobody had even imagined that there would be an organism called a human at that time. So I can what I was trying to do was set a stage for talking about the physical aspect of acceptance, and then bring into it the psychological understanding of humans over the last few hundred years.
yeah,
So the timeline is actually much more compressed for the humans, because humans itself is a very short-lived organism.
Akash, are you okay
totally
if I
agree.
talk about just one sentence?
I didn't get you, Sarvindi. What are you asking me?
I said I'd like to just add one sentence over here.
Please, yes, please.
The very, by the very word discuss applies to exploring all different contexts and all different angles of something. So why were we discussing this? Because this is a discussion. It's a discussion.
No, no, sir.
Hence,
No, sir.
we explore
Sovereignty, no,
the
no, no.
expand.
I'll stop you here, please. I'm not trying to be, antagonistic towards Mahoraga. Actually, at the very start, he asked that there was a distinction between personal and, community
I
in
understand that.
acceptance. And that
I
time,
understand.
I understood why he was saying that, but because what I had talked about was Harari's work. You will know Harari's work in *Sapiens*,
Yes.
and that term, that line that I quoted there is actually from psychological understanding of the world around us. So that is why
Yes.
his idea for understanding for that discussion was that we are going out of the point of discussion, but
Of
was only trying to reach
context.
the point of discussion up until that time.
Exactly my point. That you cannot, Sakshi also said the same thing. You cannot straight away jump to something. There has to be a certain context set. And when you discuss things, things will be explored from different angles. So the question of where is this coming from, we always, in all our discussions, have been doing that. We explore a certain point from various angles. Even for setting the context itself, we always explore things from different angles. That's just how it is.
Right. So having I think now Nandini has left the call, so the discussion about psychological acceptance and understanding as a part of evolution would probably not be so fruitful. But and it has also been 1.5 hours. So if you want to wrap up the call, please just let me know.
But
Oh, also, Sovereignty, you told me to inform you it's 11 already.
Yes, yes, I noted that.
Yeah.
I think there aren't many people left to discuss this any further for today, at least. Maybe we'll leave it open-ended and continue on this topic with far more clarity next time. What do you
Yes,
think,
we
Akash?
pick up the psychological aspect as well, because we have so much to discuss within the last 500 years. The amount of intellectual growth and dealing with what is happening around the world, both in terms of human excesses and adapting to it and accepting it is phenomenal. So we have a lot to discuss about that as well.
We can discuss it tomorrow.
The same topic tomorrow might be become boring for people, na? So we'll take some more interesting topic, and maybe a few days after we can take this up again.
But yes, because the concerned people are not here. Nandini.
Okay. Okay, okay. No, that is fine. So Nandini, she can read from the group chat as well, right? And
Okay.
but more or less the context that I wanted to tell her about, so that she can research at least, that is already discussed. So fair enough.
Yes.
Hello, PDD. Good evening.
Happy night, G.
Happy night, guys.
Hi, Dot. I thought that you changed your name and joined a Cinderella. I'm I'm so sorry if that was not the case, but yeah. So we are just about wrapping up the call today, and we were talking about acceptance as a sign for evolution. We have discussed a lot about biological evolution and relating how adaptation can be treated as biological acceptance. And we've reached a point that we can now discuss about how humans perceive evolution and acceptance in their own environment and evolve through it. But that is a point of discussion for another time. And we would like to wrap up this call right now. And if any of you have any points to discuss, please come ahead. Otherwise, we'll uh, finalize this call, please.
We have used all our time to discuss the biological evolution.
Yes, 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 correct.
Yeah.
Like you
So
should
if
also talk about psychological aspects. Like it's only biological, yeah, he was saying right.
absolutely, so we
The
can do that.
topic,
But
the name of the topic should have changed from the very start. That we are gonna talk about first biological evolution, then we are gonna talk about the acceptance as a sign of
then
evolution.
how do we how do I include that much information in the name only? I couldn't do that, na. So that is why I put up the topic only as what the main point was.
You know,
See,
in
the
earlier
topic
time,
name is
about
not
3 or
changed.
4 months
It's
ago,
just one side had been talked yet.
Yes, 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 we
yeah,
can do that, but actually it will take as much time, in fact more, because how humans understand and perceive reality is very different from how biological systems do that.
yes,
We create our own
but
realities. We were talking about it, right, in the last few sessions as well, how we manifest and all that. We literally create our own realities, and my reality and my world is actually different from your perception of the world. So your
okay.
acceptance and your tolerances for towards certain things will be different than mine. So if we want to talk about comprehensively understanding a certain psychological topic, we need a lot of time.
Akash, have you read? How many books have you read, Akash?
Not too many, but I read excerpts from many books, because nowadays all of it is available online. So
Okay, at least how many?
uh, I don't have a number to that. I read about 2 weeks a book, two books in a week, 2 to 3 books in a week.
2 to 3 books in a week.
Yeah.
And for how many years are you doing this?
I've been regularly reading for around 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that, I used to do
So
only academic books.
yeah, yeah, we all do that. Okay, so if I am correct, you were not reading summary. You are actually reading the book.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And if you are telling the truth, then I think you can complete the Sapiens in 1 or 2 weeks.
Might be, but I have not actually because it's a very thick book, and
It has,
the
yeah,
the book that I have read
it
about
has 500 pages.
not 500 only. I think it's around 700 something pages. The one I have, it's a
Let me
very
check.
thick book,
I
and
have to. No, it is 498 page. Yeah.
okay, 500. Maybe the page thickness is more because that book that I have is very thick. And then, the book that I read close to it is actually two books together. There's a book called Aragon and Eldest. Those two books put together is the thickness of Sapiens.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I can definitely tell that you haven't read Sapiens. You just
Yes,
picked
of
up a
course.
line.
Of course, I
Yeah,
have not done that. I have only read bits and parts of it.
yeah. You should do that.
Yes, I'll do that. I have the book, in fact. I purchased it, I think, almost 5, 6 months back. I have not been able to complete it yet. So I'll do that.
Okay. I personally want you to read that book
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
because when I was listening to you, I found multiple knowledge gap.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
if
that
you could
can
point it out, it will be really great.
no, well, as I said, it is
Sorry?
very large. There are multiple points.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and you were making answers when you are talking. Okay,
Hmm.
and the answers were not completely relating with each other. Okay,
Like?
like I don't remember, but yeah, if you have the recording, you go and listen
Hmm.
and think that does it make sense?
Now, what all things did, at least you would have some point, right? That I was saying that point A and point B together did not make sense. So at least you could have point me one an instance at least.
Like British,
Sorry? Yeah. Okay.
like the British one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you tell that British have to accept it and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not British.
there was
Indians
no
did need to accept. Yes.
Indians need to accept it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it was not the topic of acceptance.
Was it not? Why?
I cannot tell you.
No, no. In what context are you
Seriously,
saying?
seriously,
Because in a
seriously,
political
I
sense.
cannot tell you.
Okay.
Seriously, I cannot tell you. I actually want you to read Sapiens first. If
Okay.
you read
Okay. Okay.
Sapiens,
Mm-hmm.
then you will understand what I actually wanted to say to you.
Okay. Sure. Then we can discuss
Okay.
this further. Absolutely. Thank you.
But
Yeah.
we all wanted to know.
Yeah,
For
But
now,
we all
if
I'll
are
you
tell you
curious
now.
to know.
When I have read
for
that,
now,
and then we can discuss with Maharaga, and then I'll invite you. We'll host another call for that.
yeah.
That will be okay, right?
For now, okay. Listen, for
Yeah.
now, if you want to know, we actually don't accepted the British, but there left a residue of British, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in us. There were, okay, let's take example.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's say your father is abusive,
Mm-hmm.
okay. It is your reality now.
Okay.
You have to accept it, okay. Even if you don't want to, you will have got the father's anger as well, even if you don't want.
Yes.
That's not because you accepted it. That's because there is a residue of that nature in you. Okay. So
It is a
that's
different
the
way to
difference.
see things. Okay, I got that. I got your point.
Yeah. So
So
not every
uh,
time we accept
when
it,
I
sometimes there always a residue in us.
Okay, that is
That doesn't make
understandable
sense.
and true as well. But when you talk about an abusive father, we have so many instances of people. When we are talking about a human relationship, we will have this as well. When we talk about an abusive father, for example, There are so many instances of people, kids running away from their homes because of a abusive parental relationship. Yes or no?
Yeah, that's called trauma, and that's
Exactly.
another residue.
Exactly. So we have residual parts. See, have you read any of the work from Gabor Mate?
No.
Okay, he is a popular talker. That is why I asked you about that. He is a child
Okay,
clinical
that's another
psychologist,
residue,
and
and
he.
listen.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's another residue. Okay, that's another type of residue in that person. Okay, and
Hmm.
that's what we call trauma, but it is actually a residue as well. Okay, so let's say British had made us so inferior, feel so inferior that even now we feel inferior to foreigners. Whenever a foreigner comes, we treat them like king. That's another type of residue that is
You are
still in us.
mistaking two things together. There is something called Atithya in Indian, you know, diaspora that the Western
Aditi
people
Devo
do
Bhava.
not understand.
Aditi
When
Devo
you
Bhava.
Sorry? Yeah, no, no, not just Atithya Devo Bhava. Atithya means the ability to accept a foreign person as our own. This phenomena exists as a cultural construct in the Indian region. It is not available everywhere. The concept is so foreign when a person goes to somebody else's house in any Western civilization. The person who is visiting, the guest, already feels alienated in that space. However, in
No.
contrast, that same person, if he really visits a household in an oriental space, an oriental community, he will be treated as a part of the family. It is unimaginable for them to even be exposed to. You have seen routine. I don't know how, if you have seen it or not. People who visit villages in India, foreigners who visit villages in India, and they are treated to Indian hospitality, the concept of atithya, they go into tears. It is unimaginable for them to be treated in that way. So there are some social constructs that you need to be aware of when you read a work from a Western author. Harari is not a Western author, but the concepts of certain of his books is very much skewed towards Western society. So he also talks about many of the Eastern constructs as well. So that is there. But when, as a reader, you should be aware of what society constructs talking about, he's targeting, and if that actually exists in the way he is describing in the work, in the target community or society. That is the work of the reader, of course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you talked about, British acceptance not being there for Indians, agreed, absolutely. The trauma of being ruled over existing in the Indian society, agreed. The inferiority complex developing to such an extent that we still treat foreigners put them on a high pedestal, agreed. But it
Yeah.
is not just the systematic degradation affecting the Indian minds. There is also the parallel concept of Atithya present there. When people
Okay.
now come to
I agree.
India
I agree with
after,
you.
yeah,
Akash, I agree with you on the topic of Atitya.
yeah,
Okay, I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Okay,
yeah, Atithya, it's like
but
Atithi Deva Bhava, whatever you said. The
yeah,
Sanskrit term it comes from is Atithya.
okay, Atitya. Okay,
Yeah.
but if you have seen any video where a South African black guy comes,
Mm.
people actually make fun of him
Yes,
in their own language.
yes.
That's because people don't fear, people don't feel inferiority complex in front of a black South African
No,
or any
no,
any any black
no, no,
person
not
mostly.
because of that. No, not because of that. It has
Yeah,
developed because dark skin is treated
yeah,
as a
racism.
negative. Yeah, exactly. That residue you were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
racism.
that counter residue has developed in the Indian society now. People with dark skin are treated as a like discardable part of society. That is where this
Yeah,
ridicule comes from. And it is the same for all dark skinned people, not just in India, in USA as well. The Native Americans who are red skinned, they are equally, persecuted. The blacks who
The
came more from
Native
Africa,
Americans
they
are
are
not
equally
actually
persecuted.
native there.
Sorry.
The Native American are actually not native.
No, not Native Americans. I'm talking about the red skinned people, the Aztecs, the Maoris, the people, not Maoris, sorry, the what do you call them? Basically, the native inhabitants of that space. They have reddish skin, basically.
Okay, I
Polynesian or
don't know
something
about
they are
them.
called. I don't know. They have yellow and red skin. They don't have white skin.
Aborigines me ever
Yes,
aborigine
it
is
might
not
be. You can say that. Yeah,
not a okay, aborigine is not what you say, a
native
culture
to
name
that
or a
place.
cult name,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
aborigine is actually a word.
Yes.
It is used for the people who actually reside there from the very start. That's they are called aborigines. It can be used for any
Yeah,
place.
ab origin means ab initio. From the start, when origin happened, from that time, who are present there, they are called aborigines. Yes.
Yeah,
So my point is the persecution of dark skinned people in India. It is an acquired trait. It did not always exist. If
I
you
don't know
see,
about
if you
that.
read history, if you need to read history parallelly, right? When you are reading some
Okay,
analysis of the
any
Indian
book about
society
history?
today, yes.
Any book of history today that you want to recommend me?
Many actually. If you have like this called, a guy called Vincent Smith. Vincent Smith has the Oxford History of India. There is K.C. Chaudhary, the Advanced History of India. There are so many standard texts that you can read about this in all libraries and all it is available. And apart from that, there are people from H.C. Chaudhary, like even now the current director of the ASI. He has it's a lady, I think. She has written so many books. And a few days ago, there was a author who passed away. Her books were very famous in investigative Indian history. So I'll find the books names and post it on the GC. You can check it out. But there is so much of history available, and you will also have need to put it into context that the people who have written those books are skewed. So don't read only one person.
What do you mean
You
by
will need
skewed?
right. My perception, what I write about, is based entirely on how I perceive certain things around me.
Okay,
Right.
okay,
If I
okay,
write about Ashoka, I have a certain outlook. When I write about the same person, when I'm writing about Vallabhbhai Patel, I have a different outlook. So what I write about Ashoka, the amount of research I put into Ashoka might be different from the amount of research I put into Vallabhbhai Patel because of my own skewed nature. So I cannot
correct.
rely on specifically in case of historians, you cannot rely on anybody. Nobody is authentic actually. The authenticity comes from reading the similar or same accounts from multiple people who have conflicting viewpoints.
Okay,
You get my point?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I'll the books that I have in my library, or I have collected from any places, I'll search it out and I'll list it in the GC so you can check it out.
okay.
Yeah. So it's 11:30. Can we wrap up this call, guys?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, Cops. You joined us today, but you didn't talk about anything. You want to add something?
No, I got nothing to say.
Okay. Thank you. And
Yeah,
Jevika?
welcome.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So, Jyoti and Sakshi, you've had something to talk about. If there is nothing else, Mahoraka, I'll just end this call here. Okay. Thank you everybody for participating and giving me a chance to talk about a lot of things.
What's
And
tomorrow topic?
tomorrow's topic is not yet decided. I think it'll be Harshit or Soldier tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you everybody. Have a wonderful night ahead. Bye bye. Good night.